Hello, and welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour, the weekly bridge to the future of the piano tech community. I'm David Anderson.
And I'm Ethan Janney. And we're here to ask great questions, and then we'll shut up and listen to some of the authorities, experts, and most outstanding personalities in our little world of pianos.
So, put on your best set of headphones, and let's get started.
Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour, everyone. And
Yes.
I'll give a little introduction here. We'll talk about what's going on, and then we'll dive into it. So, this is Piano Tech Radio Hour. And what we do here is, we bring to you the most interesting and knowledgeable folks in the piano industry and have some cool conversations with them. And it's brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, an online educational resource that offers you cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. And you can find out more about Piano Technicians Masterclasses at www.pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. And on today's show, we're supposed to have a fine fellow named Alex Kostakis from New York City. He actually, I can check and see if he joined. I know he actually had a little bit of an emergency he's taking care of with his vehicle. So he may show up a little bit late, but I think he's still going to be here. Let me just check and see if he's here. No, he's not here yet.
Tell our brothers and sisters who this dude is.
Yeah,
I recognized his name, and as soon as you told me, I knew who he was.
Yeah, and if for some reason we have a fail here today, we'll have him back. Very interesting history. His family has been in pianos for quite a while. He's the head piano technician and owner of AC Piano Craft Incorporated. It was founded by Ted Kostakis in 1966.
Yeah.
They rebuild Steinways mostly. They also do Mason and Hamlins and other elite grand pianos for a discerning clientele of enthusiastic pianists, educators, and music lovers from around the world. And AC Piano Craft utilizes systems and methods acquired during the decades-long experiences as final inspectors at the Steinway and Sons factory in New York City. Alex demands the best from his fine staff personally and rigorously tests every piano before it leaves the factory door. So I've lived in New York City, so got a chance to interact with Alex a bit and seen the operation that he's got there. But basically the story is, like I outlined, his family had been involved in Steinway for many years directly, and then they kind of started their own tradition of taking Steinway instruments and rebuilding them and, making them better, bringing them in from customers and, turning them around if they've been in use for many years, things like that.
Did you go to the factory or their big shop and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So what he has, the real estate there is probably, it's probably 10 times as costly as it was when he first got there. But he's out of a warehouse in Queens, New York. And it's not too far from, where Steinway has some factories in Queens area, although it's not like it's right next door. But it's kind of right over the river, the East River, I believe, in Manhattan. So there's a bridge that goes over from the East River from Manhattan. And basically right when you get on the other side, that's Queens. And his factory is basically right there. So, he's kind of been this sort of, if you actually want to go to, the Carnegie Hall area in Manhattan, there are a few piano shops. There's almost like a piano row there where there've been a few, Steinway themselves has a showroom and some other piano dealers. Faust Harrison, yes, exactly, and that's actually not that far from Carnegie Hall, for example. But then he's kind of built this operation that's a little bit off the beaten path. But to anyways give you an idea of the evolution of that area, when he started, it was just a little factory that probably nobody would ever go there for any reason besides some industrial or business matters. And now there's I think there's a giant high rise on either side of it. And he rents out one floor of, I think it's maybe, let's say 5 to 7 story building, and they do refinishing. They do everything. They do everything that you need to do to rebuild
So
the
when you
piano.
were there, let's get it cutting right to the chase. Did you play the pianos?
Yes, I've played the pianos, and what he does is he has, his factory showroom, his factory area, and various people who focus on niche areas of rebuilding the pianos, and then set aside, he's built this little kind of showroom area. It's kind of unique, I think, among showroom areas because there's no windows on it, and it's kind of set inside. It's almost like an afterthought, like it's a factory there, but then they put this little showroom there.
So, yeah,
and they sound great. I know that was a question you were asking, but yeah.
Because I'll tell you, the reputation from the completely other side of the creek, and being in New York sometime, and hanging out at Faust Harrison and the Steingraber dealer, I can't remember their names, which is right next door. Allegro, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
They were perceived as one of the two, like, high-end or artisan restoration shops. It was AC Piano Craft and then Beethoven Piano. And AC was always kind of the leader, if even as good or better than Faust Harrison's restorations, right? That was their reputation. So,
right. Yeah, and yes. So when I moved to New York City, I moved there around 2009, maybe is it somewhere between 2008 and 2010. It was 2008, 2009. I went and visited him, because I heard about him, and tried to maybe set up a relationship working in the factory, something like that. But we just, at that point, we didn't establish any relationship like that, but we talked a little bit, and I first got to know him and went and played some of the pianos. And, just from that very first experience, it was obvious to me that he was creating wonderful instruments.
He was working at a high level.
Yeah, they were all just a dream to play. Even, maintained well, you might imagine in, in that kind of factory setting, maybe they wouldn't keep them up tuned and prepped as much, but everything's all prepped and ready to go.
Not if he's a piano technician. He would never let him sound like Mared on the
showroom floor,
right next to where he's building them. Jeez.
Yeah. But it's not like the funny thing about what he's got going on there, and maybe sometime in the future we can set up a little tour or something, but it's not like walking into a piano store off the street. You look in the windows, you see some pianos, you walk in, it's carpeted, and you sit down at various instruments, and the salesperson walks up to you. This is kind of appointment only, so
that's right.
It's similar to what you've got going on, David.
Yeah.
Where if somebody wants to come look at a piano, they're not just going to show up like retail space kind of thing. They're going to hear about you through someone else and make an appointment, or maybe they have a piano that needs to be rebuilt, and they'll give a call, and you'll maybe send one out to their location and evaluate.
In my case, they look at the website too, and they get impressed by my website.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, the piano's in great condition,
awesome.
Sounding really good in that space, and he basically, just caters to the higher level clientele that,
like, people that really know the difference.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's your dream, is to sell pianos basically to people that have played 15 pianos before they get to yours. People that really care about what their piano sounds like and feels like. That's, if they're not idiots, that means they're dream clients. If they recognize, trust is present, and, you get what you pay for, and high end is the high end, then they're beautiful clients, because they challenge you, right? They challenge you to do a better and better and better job and getting more and more and more precise.
Yeah. And I can explain a little bit about the operation over there. And again, just from my knowledge, being a bit of an outsider to it, but just having come in, and he's given tours to, he hosts like local PTG chapter meetings, and you know, so you get an opportunity to go over there and see what's going on. But the way that they set it up is there's kind of various folks they just know how to do X. You know, they know how to get the keys all set up, or they know how to make sure the plate's painted, you know, properly, or they know how to install the soundboard or the pin block.
It's like a factory in that way.
It's like but it's kind of like a bespoke operation as opposed to
right.
Yeah, Faust Harrison actually has basically they have what he has, but they've tried to make it higher scale,
even higher. Harrison. That's right.
Yeah, they've developed out there in White Plains, New York, and if there's other people from New York too, it might be interesting. Hey, here he is, Kostakis. Enter the waiting room.
Good.
So we'll give him a little minute to settle in, and then we'll start chatting. But yeah, I know, for example, come on, what's his name? David Skolnick, who attends these sessions often, and I think is here today. He's been to Alex's showroom, and if you have anything to share too, you're welcome to chime in.
Ethan, I would, except I'm driving, so I don't even want to look at you.
Okay, don't. Yeah. Stay safe, please. Don't get in an accident.
Alex, it's wonderful to see you. It's David Anderson. I've heard about you for decades, and your ears must have been burning just now, because I was saying that your reputation is as one of the two. What?
Let me make sure that there's a strange.
Somebody's got a mic on.
I'm gonna
it's
mute.
Like the chipmunks on acid.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. Is that Alex? Let me mute him. Somehow that's him. I don't know how you pulled that off, Alex.
It's Alvin and the Chipmunks on acid, is what it is.
Yeah. Let's see here, Alex. Yeah, we're getting a weird feedback from you. I wonder if you could put on some headphones or something. Where is he?
Or maybe he just needs to mute one of his audio sources.
Yeah.
That's just the way he sounds.
Yeah.
That's the way he sounds.
That's just the way he sounds.
So, Alex, if you're able to, I guess try unmuting yourself again, or set up your. That is funny.
Oh my God.
Let me give you the phone number. You can call in on your phone, Alex. Okay.
Wow.
That's pretty funny. All right, Alex, I'm going to send you in the chat. I'm hoping you can hear us. We're getting a feedback from your audio that makes our voice sound like chipmunks. I have no idea why that's happening, but I'm going to give you, let's see here. I'll give you an invite to call in on your phone, and I think we should be fine once you do that.
There you go.
Just a second here. Copy invitation. Let's get this going down here. Yeah, that's not quite working, Alex. Okay, I'm going to give you a phone number in the chat. Do you see the chat, Alex? Write a response in the chat if you see it, Alex. If not, I'm going to text it to you.
You got to mute your mics, Alex.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna text him the number too, because that will be helpful. Sorry, folks. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
Text you.
Thank you for muting his input.
Yeah, definitely. He's having an interesting day. One tap mobile. This will help. This one. Yeah. And let me send that here. And use this number to call in on your phone. Okay. Alex, you can hear us, right? Nod your head that you can hear us. Let me spotlight you real quick. Alex, can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so strange. Can you give us a thumbs up that you can hear us? Can you nod that you can hear us?
Yes, he can hear us.
I could hear that you said, "Can you hear me?" But it was a really odd thing.
It's
so
like
call that number that I sent you. We'll see if we can get this set up.
But Ethan, he's got to turn off his audio source. That's what's causing this whole thing.
Right. I muted him for now.
Ah, good.
Let's see maybe he's calling my phone, or maybe he's calling the hope to be logged in a few minutes. Let's see if he's calling me. I'm going to call.
I hear that echo in the background, man.
Okay. Now he's...
Jesus.
Yeah, I got to mute him. Oh, say the number out loud. I think he dialed it. He's punching some numbers.
Yeah.
Can we hear you? Just a second. I see you dialed in. I'll admit you. Just a second. We'll get you. We're going to get you. Keep your computer muted, and I'm going to unmute your phone. Can you hear us through your phone? Yes?
I hear you.
Yes. We got you.
I hear a voice.
Now
okay,
we can hear your voice.
Okay, and you can turn your computer.
You go. Bravo.
You could turn your computer speakers down, so you don't get us twice, because you'll probably be able to hear us through the phone. Okay?
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough. Okay, so
Awesome.
Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour. I know you were having some issues with your car earlier, so I'm glad that you could join us. And we did give an introduction, about you. I talked a little bit about your factory floor and your showroom, just to give people a little bit of background on what you do. But yeah, feel free to, tell us what's been going on with you lately, just to give us some background. And we can get into any topic of conversation that seems productive.
And
well, the thing is, where do we start, considering all the problems we've all faced at one time or another, whether it's customer, the piano, the suppliers, et cetera, et cetera. I did run across one situation with a client that bought a piano from a reputable dealer, and names are irrelevant at this point. And I'm sure we've all run across this situation at one time or another. But it's the type of problem that we all reach it. And it was a Steinway. I'm not going to say the size of the serial number, because I wouldn't want anybody to know about this piano or the client. That was purchased from a reputable dealer. And the problems that I incurred on this piano, just in the action alone, was at least 2 pages long of problems.
wow.
Exactly.
After a restoration, so-called, right?
Well, a so-called restoration, correct. And the client, after I evaluated the keyboard itself, I wanted to refuse the job. But the client pleaded with me, and of course I took on the job because I was like a challenge. But there was also a budget restriction on this particular instrument. And the list as far as the problems were concerned was as follows. Everything from mixed size screws in the hammer shank rails to the screws being tight but the flanges being loose.
Oh my
Action
God.
parts were not new. nor were they original to the specific instrument. They were basically taken from another piano of the same size.
Jesus.
Uneven spacing between the hammers not hitting the strings uniformly, consistently to strings for improper soft pedal. Hammers were not glued in a straight line as far as the heads were concerned, or nor the tails in that matter. Hammer tails hitting repetitions. Strike point in the treble was off by a good quarter of an inch.
Jesus.
The wrong repetitions were used. They were angled heeled repetitions for straight capstan screws, which also gave a full sense of weight resistance. Not original screws or mixed type screws for the stack, which is not a big deal. Keyframe wedges were loose. They were unglued to the keyframe.
Wow.
No buckskin on the monkey guides. Worn keyframe end felts. There were indentations on the felts, so the timing for the underlevers was off.
So they didn't change the key end felts in the so-called restoration, correct?
Correct. Now, let's face it, if they're relatively good, you can get away with it. But these were extremely worn. Okay. Key chucking from front to back, excessive key leads and uneven key weights balanced throughout the keyboard. The prop or the key glides were unevenly set. Now, in that aspect, I know a lot of people may not know how to do it correctly, but these were like way off. The key level height was uneven. The heights did not match from the bass to the treble, off by a good eighth of an inch. Uneven key level, uneven spaces between the white and the black keys, uneven let off. A good 30% of them were blocking up. Uneven drop, excessive key depth by a good eighth of an inch.
Really?
Okay,
Jesus.
and that was, not including mating regulation. Now, in all fairness to the people that sold the piano, the client wanted a inexpensive Steinway. Okay, and I understand because I get people that approach me, either it's for a discount on the restoration of their piano or a discount on the sale of the piano, but compared to a lot of people in my general area, I feel I'm reasonably priced with a lot of the things that I do. Okay. I always try to be sympathetic to the client. Even if they drive a better car than I do, and they live in a better environment than I do, and they go to better restaurants than I do. If I can try to accommodate and help, I'll always try to do so. But this job was excessively wrong. He tried complaining to the house that he purchased it from. They took the piano back for a period of time and basically gave him the piano back and told him, there's nothing else we can do. Nobody else can do better. Well, if I tell you, I probably regulated this piano 4 times just to bring the reins in, to zero it in. Okay, to be able to bring the keyboard back to the client's house and finish the job in the piano. It was a nightmare. I mean, I literally wanted to refuse the job more than once on this. And as much as, I made my price on this, I felt I didn't make enough, considering the amount of work that needed to be done in this keyboard.
So let me, just for clarity's sake, this piano, this client had been charged whatever he had been charged by. Did he buy the piano, quote, restored, unquote, from this piano store?
Well, this is the deal. He bought the piano restored.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where the house is at fault, because it defines it in the warranty as a restored instrument, which it has not been. And go ahead.
Again, for clarity, did this venue rebuild, quote unquote, this piano?
Yes. In their terminology, yes. They
Unbelievable.
claimed that it
That's
was restored.
well, that's criminal.
Correct. Now, when they took the piano back, when they offered to take the piano back, on top of things, they were going to try to sell this piano on consignment, no less, instead of giving the owner of the instrument his money back, or an opportunity to trade it in for a different instrument, an opportunity to do right by the store. Okay, and they were not able to fulfill their obligations to the client. And at this point, I mean, I didn't want to know who the house was when I first got involved in this.
Yep.
Eventually, it ended up coming out because everybody has kind of like their signature of work, so to speak, in the
Number
work that they
one.
do.
Number two, it's like a little village. Everybody knows everything.
Correct. And it's reached the point where the client is going to file charges against the house that's involved.
Well,
to try to get his money back.
He should. That's criminal. What they did
I
is
agree
criminal.
with you, but it it's like, do we have the to get involved in such an item, let alone the repercussion from the house? They might slander me, and who knows when I would find out, if I would find out.
Well, yeah, the ultimate best thing to do in a situation like that, in my opinion, I've been in over 40 odd years in the piano business as a high-end tech and restorer. I've run into a lot of situations. And the best thing to do is, if you can, is to just walk away and say, that was a 10 grand lesson or a 20 grand lesson or whatever.
Definitely.
Because do you want to be in close contact with people that you have called, holes, people that you wouldn't like to spend 5 minutes with, let alone be in business with? Jesus.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, there's a saying, if you got a $10 head, you buy a $10 helmet.
That's
okay,
right.
And anybody who will laugh at that will understand exactly what is meant by it. Okay, and that's what this individual did. He bought an inexpensive Steinway.
Yeah,
but they still misrepresented it. Now, everybody can define certain things in their own light of things. An inexpensive Steinway, maybe an original board, maybe an original block with with pins and new strings. Okay, maybe used action parts, but there was a wear and tear and it was regulated.
yeah,
Okay, this was an extreme.
yeah.
Okay,
Obviously,
and
it was a criminal extreme, as I said.
Correct. The biggest offense I found through this, and this is just in the keyboard alone, okay, I can't go into as far as the belly is concerned, but to a 1940s, let me verify that. Yeah, I don't have that information in front of me. Yeah, roughly a 1935 vintage piano.
Yeah.
Did not have the original action parts. Someone installed parts, my opinion, from a different piano of the same size. And either they glued the hammers on wrong or they got it like that. They just installed it in the piano and tried to make it work.
The reason that people like you exist, and that a lot of the people on this call, piano technicians and restorers, the reason we exist is because of what my dad used to call the 10% rule.
Okay.
He said, in any business, he was a lawyer, he was a negotiator, basically. Said in any business, any domain of business, there's only about 10% of anybody that's both great at what they do, right? But they're also really good people. They return phone calls. They're honest. They're fair. They're compassionate. They're
Sure.
ethical. That's right. They have a code of operation that has some morality to it. And he said there's about 10% of those people, of everybody in the domain. So this radio hour and you and a few people like you in New York City are kind of standard bearers for ethics. And that's why I'm much more interested and excited about how AC builds a Steinway. And because I've been hearing about and playing your pianos for 25 years in California. And I can see what you do, but I'd love to hear it from you, like how you see it.
Well, if everybody online doesn't mind, I mean, I'll get into it on a brief aspect as much as we can dissect everything we're going to say.
Well, that's what we're here for. We're piano nerds. We all love this stuff. So if you can tell us, what goes into, like your best restored Steinway, that would be great.
Well, best restored is always going to be a matter of opinion. Let's face it.
Of course.
Okay, but it's always good if we can start with a virgin piano, one that was untampered with by anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, because then we don't have to go backwards before we go forwards. Starting with the pin block, when you're reproducing a pin block, you have to match authenticity of specification in the thickness, in the widths, in the length,
in everything,
from the treble to the bass, in everything. Because if the cast iron plate is not set the way it was designed at date of birth, you alter the fundamentals of the keyboard, of the mechanics. Now, in years back, a lot of people may not realize that the wedges on the keyframe were taking off the height of the strings. And the keyframe itself was designed around the location.
¿Qué representa?
Sorry, someone just got unmuted.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
That's okay. That's okay. So, if I change the height of the cast iron plate or how the plate sits in the body from left to right, I will alter the speaking length. I will alter the let off and drop. I will alter just about everything. Okay, so it's crucial that you match authenticity of specification. The same thing with the sounding board. I mean, the ribs were matched to the cutouts in the inner frame. And trust me, I've seen alterations from piano to piano with the same year. Do I try to make them all the same? No, I match what is there. Because a lot of times, even what I might think to be an error is what made one piano better than the other.
Right. What made it sustain? Yeah, because it was deeply handmade in the teens and aughts and 20s and 30s, and it was.
Okay, now did they reinvent wheel in here and there? Yes, they have. Different ways, how many different times? And for the most part, they all worked and worked well. There's a couple of flops that happen between here and there. It can happen to any. All right, but even for instance, with that, the inner rim is pitched. There's a pitch to it. I don't know the degree angle, so please, nobody ask me. But some of the very old Steinways, like the Style 2 and the Style 3, the inner rims were not pitched. The years back, we used to do warranty work for Kauai America. And when we go put in a new, we noticed that the inner rim was not pitched. So we used to strategically scrape it and give it a more pitched board from the inner rim and give it a better sound.
Like a several degrees slope from the top of the rim to the bottom of the rim?
Correct.
Wow. And all Steinway rims are pitched like that?
Yes, they are.
Wow.
If you take a straight edge and put it on the inner rim and press on it, you will notice it will pitch up. So between the design of the diaphragmatic board, the pitching of the rim, even the bridge has a curvature to it. It's not just a flat piece of wood.
Yeah.
That all adds to it. Putting it in a hot box to shrink to take the moisture out of it. Then by the time it gets glued into place, the board is actually absorbing moisture and is popping even more. That's all calibrated. Now, trust me, this is not my doing. I cannot take credit for it. This is all Steinway design, and a lot of other manufacturers copied this as well.
Yeah.
All right, but it's maintaining what we've learned, what we learned from the product in front of us. A lot of people don't know how to read what the piano is telling you. Look at the minor things that
Yeah.
but in transit, that can move.
Of course it can.
Now, the hull was kind of like oblong. It was tight in the bottom and loose up at the top. And the question is, how can you repair something like this? Well, in the home, the repair obviously is going to be a little different than out in the field, than in the factory.
Yep.
Okay, but the key thing is to keep that key block from moving inside the piano.
Yeah.
Going to what you're asking me about the work that we actually rebed key beds on all the pianos that come through our hands.
Say it again.
You know, we rebed the key beds. There's a bevel front to back and left to right.
Oh, you resurfaced the key beds.
In the sense that you're putting a surface on and redoing it. But yes, we are taking out the high points to create that bevel which goes front to back.
And how do you measure that? How do you get the precision measurements of that?
There's no real exact measurement to it. Okay, but the glides or the props, terminology, okay, will take up the differences between the left, the center, the right, et cetera, et cetera.
So you're just you're just looking at the line.
We're looking at the proper clearance.
Yeah.
Taking the straight edge, holding it from the front lip into where the dags are.
Yeah.
There has to be a clearance. There has to be a bevel. The key bed is concave and the keyframe is convex, let's say. Okay. And it's made to arc. Now, even when doing the glides, we actually refit the keyframe back into the key bed. Now, a lot of times you might see the key beds at the ends, the joint has loosened up where the key end, the key bed might be raised a little bit.
A lot of times.
Okay.
A lot of times. That's the situation.
You know, the glue joint has separated over the years for whatever the reason might have been.
Yeah.
Okay. As a factory, I have to secure that. I have to re-glue it. I dowel it for extra support to bring that lip down so it's flush with the rest of the key bed.
Yeah.
Okay. Same thing with the ends of the key frames. The joints can open up. The wedges on the key frames, they can loosen up. They can raise up.
Because there's so much movement in those points over the years.
Correct. Okay. There's many different reasons why something can happen. Okay. But it's what are we going to do about it? Now,
that's right.
When I go to teach things, you know, the key thing when teaching a young mechanic or a new mechanic.
Alex, just quick thing. Just I don't know, change the angle of your phone a tiny bit. Your speaker came out a little bit. Yeah, say something.
Is that better?
Oh, way better.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Thanks for bringing that to my attention.
Yeah, it was okay before, and it's strange. Your phone, like It's like a
Okay. Well,
It's
a
my
like a
degree
direct
difference like
tired.
makes it weird.
like a unidirectional mic. It's weird.
There you go. My hand was getting tired. It was like pulling
There
away
you
from
go.
my face. You know.
There you go.
There you go. Okay. So a lot of these little items are crucial to a solid foundation,
Yeah.
and that's the key thing. Now, let's face it. When I go to a client's house, it's hard for me to create a factory job in an unfactory environment, let alone the fact that the client wants you out of there as fast as you can be. Where we might refit the key frame to the key bed, out in the field, you might end up putting a business card because the key frame is slapping against the key bed.
That's right.
You're not wrong in such a thing. Okay. But in a factory environment, obviously, I can't let things go like that. The matching of the action parts is a crucial item. I can change the weight resistance. I can change the touch, the feel of the keyboard by using the incorrect parts.
You're right.
Renner and a few other companies produce these test kits. Well, we've had test kits for years. Okay, by taking a lot of the vintage parts, labeling them, sticking them in a box, and taking them out periodically to check the pianos that are at hand for work. We put in the individual notes. We'd regulate 2 or 3 notes to find out which is the right part for us to use. I'm not going to buy a little more to figure out things are wrong.
That's right.
Regulate the 2 or 3 notes. Perfect it. Regulate the old ones and regulate the new part that's right next to it.
Yep.
And see how close you come to the original. Now, some of these parts, the specifications of vintage, you may not get it exact. Okay, but in all honesty, considering from where the client came from, how bad it was badly regulated or the parts badly worn, it's still going to be a huge improvement.
Radical.
But you do want to, exactly, but you do want to be able to zero it in as best as possible to what the piano was.
And that's
it's one thing.
I'm
Alan
sorry.
Day,
I'm
how
sorry.
are you, man? Long
I'm
time.
sick.
No, I've seen Alan Day's face pop up.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I know
There's a
Alan Day
lot
for
of-
many years.
Oh man, this is a beautiful community on the radio hour.
Love it. Love it. It's one thing when I'm restoring a piano for reselling purposes. Obviously, I'm going to make it as best as I can.
Yep.
But when I'm restoring a private instrument, it's wrong to take away the old friend that I've grown up with. And you got to take that into consideration.
Look, I've said for decades that I'm doing the work I'm doing for myself to make myself like at least provisionally happy with the work that's being done. And that's what I do it for. The clients are the beneficiaries. The world is the beneficiaries of a team of humans creating this beautiful singing frame. And I know that that's right. Your bottom line too, brother, because I've played your pianos, and Ethan has played your pianos in the recent past. I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10 years ago. And he sang their praises right before you got here. Ethan, I asked Ethan before this guy gets here, how were his pianos?
Well, listen,
and Ethan
I'm a product of my teachers.
Yeah, they all are.
I was very fortunate, really good teachers. You learn what to do. Yes, you learn what not to do. You incorporate your own style or formula in how you do things. And, like we said before, we want to be ethical on how we handle things. Okay, we don't want to cheat ourselves at the same time. So it's an equation, and all of this is all part of the equation that we have to deal with.
Right. You have to figure out for yourself.
Correct.
What is your equation? Where
we're
will
problem
you go
solvers.
where will you not go? There you go. So Ethan, my God, this time has just really literally flown past, hasn't it, Alex? I mean, where are we? We got 8 minutes left or something.
Yep.
Ethan, are there any questions or
I typed a message in the chat here to see if anybody had anything. I don't think we've had anything
Well,
very specific.
One of the things that I would like to mention,
Yes, go ahead. Yes,
is your dad. I remember him as a great teacher, and you were just so lucky to have him there at your business, and you were at his knees when I remember you as a young man playing out these wonderful pianos. And we still, I dealt with you mainly in the 80s when I was
That's right.
in Chicago. So I just wanted to tell you how fond I was of your dad and how.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very giving with his knowledge.
Wow.
And he was.
Well, I mean,
man.
here, one of the things, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to feel the same way as what I'm going to say now. I honestly don't feel I work for a living anymore. Don't misunderstand me. I got to pay my bills like everybody else. But I love what I do. I love working for the people I work for. I like making them happy. And yes, it is my time to give back as if my teachers gave to me.
Oh.
The time of day, a way of doing things. I give out my cell number all the time, and I tell people, send me a picture. I'll help you figure it out. I'll apply my knowledge any way possible to help resolve the problem at hand. And, there could be 10 different ways to resolve the same issue. But which is the one that's going to work correctly? Well, we don't know until we get to see the problem at hand. But thank you for your kind words. But I do have to say, my father was never my teacher. His partner was.
Oh, is that right? Oh.
Yeah, there was no favoritism. My father would tell me the door swings two ways. In for people who want to work and out for people who don't want to work. But his partner, Thomas Martino, I owe the man a lot of credit. A lot of credit. He was a production man at Steinway for many years before he left Steinway with my dad. But thank you for your words. And I'll tell him that. My father's still with us.
Is that right? I was just going to ask you that. It's a very delicate question.
Wow.
Yeah, it is, but that's okay. He's still with us, though.
Oh, that's great.
That's beautiful, man.
Has he been involved in the processes there? What's the timeline in terms of when it's been kind of fully handed over to you as a business versus?
Well, I bought into the company back in '88 when my former teacher, my former boss, retired. Although he still worked part-time to keep himself busy and to get out of the house. And eventually I bought out the rest of the partners. Now it's my problem. But my father did the same thing by sticking around, keeping himself busy. He didn't even want to get paid. He just wanted to come in, to have the pianos around him. And I'm probably going to be the same way. It's just something that we become one with what we're doing. And it's a beautiful thing. And I try to encourage that to all the young individuals that I get to teach or who are out there listening. If you find your niche, run with it. It's a type of business where we could all do good at it, but try to specialize in one thing and work with people that you could trust and ensure a good product from. Okay, if you try to grab everything at the same time, you're going to drop things. You're going to lose things. Okay, but if you specialize it and grow like the rings of a tree, you're going to find the business that we're in actually can be very rewarding. Yeah, you get your 2% that come in on a broom and you learn how to deal with it. But that's anything in life.
That's right.
Okay, that's anything.
But I'll tell you what, this business filters out the real psychos before they'll ever get to you. That's the beauty,
I agree.
It's a single-digit percentage of people that don't recognize that you get what you pay for, and that if you can't have trust, forget it. I've walked away from so many jobs just because I knew that person would never trust me. It wasn't possible for that person to do that.
Correct. In the beginning, you might say, I need the money, I need the job. But, when you earn that luxury to say no, trust me,
Yes.
it's more rewarding than
It
the
is.
actual pay itself.
It is. It's a beautiful gift. It's a gift of
It is.
power and self-respect. And no, I don't want to be in a situation where this guy's lack of trust is creating massive drama. That's the last thing I need in my life.
Well, listen, again, I'm going to offer my services to anybody out there, a question, an email, a photograph. I'd be more than happy to give my insight on anything that anyone is willing to share.
Well, that is awesome. And, you could come back and do a whole series of shows on, okay, this is what you do with the key bed. Oh, what do you do with this? What do you do with this? Because
listen, I promised to get my mic fixed, so maybe I'll get a set of
there you go. Yeah, get it. Come on, get a better class of technology.
Break down and get a set of headphones, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Alex, you're a true piano technician because
that's amazing.
You're so focused on your pianos that you do not have very good AV technology going. But that's okay.
Hey, that's me too, dude. Join the club.
That's where
you go.
That's where I have to admit I'm not the pinnacle of piano work, but I have the AV going pretty strong, and that's my strong point. So, but yeah, I think in the future, definitely, Alex, we should set you up and do. I'd
be more than happy to. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we can do even a masterclass someday soon. I mean, we can show up with some camera crew and audio, an AV crew, and do some really cool stuff if you want to do that someday down the road, or even just do a pictorial or video tour of your showroom. I think people would be very interested to see what's going on there. Those of us that have been there know it's pretty cool process.
Well, listen, it's a pleasure on every level. And like I said, it's my turn to give back and help anybody I can. And there's a few people I see on these screens that have worked with you over the years. 1 or 100 business is always appreciated. And it's always a pleasure to work and do what we do best.
This is David Anderson, Alex. I'm so happy and grateful that we connected, and that no doubt we'll connect again. You bring a fountain of value.
Thank you, David.
So would you like to share an email or phone number if people did want to reach out about anything? Is there a good contact?
Email would be alex@acpianocraft.com.
Okay. I put that in the chat there.
Yeah, a cell number, it's 516 35838.
Is this the number? Is this the number that you're on right now? 355-8.
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
516.
And try to send me pictures, different angles. Okay, and the pictures tell 1,000 words.
Oh man, this hour just generated about 25 questions I have about how you do various things in Rebuild.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'd be more than happy to try to help in any shape or form.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, but I got to tell you guys, I don't know everything. I know different things.
Yeah.
Truly a humble man. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Blame my parents, Alan.
Right.
Always an apprentice. That's me.
There you go.
That's part of me every single day.
I tell that to my son. The more I get, the less I know.
That's it. It's a huge ocean of knowledge.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
ladies
Alex
and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
you,
don't hesitate to reach out in any shape or form, please.
Thank you, brother.
Sounds good. And with that, we'll go ahead.
Is this the end or what?
I mean,
It's
pretty
the
much.
end.
We usually sign off right at the hour. But yeah, I'll just say, thank you again for joining us. We've had a lot, talking about, people, we've had a lot of people who do great stuff and they have their specialties. And so it's really great to have you coming in and giving your perspective on things. And we're mixing it together with, David. We've had people from Europe. And we hope to get you
Fantastic.
involved even more, maybe to attend some of the Saturday sessions and check out what's going on, do some master classes. I'll be in touch with you.
Be a pleasure.
Awesome.
Fair enough.
All right, very good. Well,
All right.
everyone, sorry for the technical
Bye-bye.
difficulties up front. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye, beloved community. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. All the best. Stay well.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time. Remember that you can catch us live online every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
That's right. Go to pianotechradio.com to register so you can interact live and ask questions of our guests.
See you next week.